Alright guys, you'll have to pardon me for not looking at the camera much here, but I am driving. Got about a 40-minute drive to go look at an estimate right now. And it seems like a good opportunity to go ahead and talk about a day in the life of a handyman. Like, what is a normal day for a handyman? And today is not one of those normal days, but it's one of many types of days that you're going to find to be frequent. So before we get into the actual day by day, let me tell you what the life of a handyman is. And this is not just for handymen, this is the life of anybody who owns their own small business, especially as an owner-operator. And I think the biggest takeaway that I should let you know about, if you've never done this before, is it's always business. Your life always exists as a business owner. When you've got a normal 9-to-5 job, you show up to work and you do what you need to do. You do whatever you're told to do, whatever your job is. And then when you're done at the end of the day, when you go home, for most of us, we could just let go of whatever was going on at work. It didn't really matter. The next shift picked it up, or it'll be waiting for us the next morning. But you can just go on with your day. So when you get home, your life is about, your hobbies, your family, taking care of whatever business you need to take care of that is not work related. But it just doesn't work that way when you're a small business owner. And that's not the end of the world by any means. There's really nothing wrong with it. It's something that you sink into that feels really natural. And I think the reason that it feels natural is for pretty much all of human history, whether we had jobs or not, our life was about something. There was something that we did. If we were tribal, then maybe we were a hunter, or we were a gatherer, or we were the guy who was really good at napping arrowheads, or, weaving baskets. I know these are all very generic examples, but I think it's quite normal for people to sort of have a thing that's their thing and to have that thing be their life. So as a full-time handyman, this handyman business is my life. And that means, of course, when I'm actually working on the job, that's what my focus is. It means when I'm doing admin work at home on the computer, that's what my focus is. But it also means that, if I take my family out to the lake for a day or out for a hike or something, I still have my phone on me. I'm still thinking about business. I'm still running through in my head. You just can't help it. You're going to end up running through in your head. What jobs do I have open? What's the next thing? What am I forgetting? Oh, what's that email that just came in? Is that an emergency? Does that property manager need me to answer a question real quick? What are my guys doing? Are they out there working the way they should be right now? How are all the jobs going? When is that next payment going to show up in the bank? There's just always tons and tons of stuff. But like I said, it's not a bad thing. It may sound bad as I say it, but it feels quite normal. And then the upside of that is, of course, yes, you do find yourself in a position where you can't ever quite let go of work, but you also find yourself in a position where you get to decide what percentage of your attention goes to work and what percentage of your attention goes to whatever it is you're doing in the moment, be it personal stuff or otherwise. So, for example, if I wake up on Wednesday and one of my kids is sick, if I need to, or if I feel like it, if I just choose to, I can shut down the work stuff because I don't have a boss who's going to be mad at me. I don't have to call in sick. I can just shut down and go, okay, my baby needs me right now, so I'm going to go take care of my baby and maybe take him to urgent care, or just get him some medicine and some soup and whatnot and cuddle with him on the couch. But your life belongs to you when you become a small business owner, in the sense that your life is your business and your life is your family. Your life is just what your life is, so you get to choose what it is that you're going to do with it. And I think that's a really big, strong point to be made. But for everybody to understand that if you're thinking you're going to go into this and you're going to have, maybe you're going to work Monday through Friday, but you're taking weekends off, well, you can try that. I've tried it, and you are able to do it to some extent. But the problem is you just can't ever really truly take off. When you've got clients depending on you, even if you're not actually out there working, you do always have to be aware and cognizant of everything that's going on in your business and making sure everyone's communicated with. And then moving on, let's talk about what an actual average day looks like. So I'm going to let you know what I think, at least in your first year especially, in your first year, what your average day is going to look like if you're doing well. So if you're doing well, and if you're following sort of my system, then you're going to be getting lots and lots and lots of relatively small jobs that you need to take care of. And these are going to be coming up consistently. Hopefully you're getting 2, 3, 4 new small jobs per day, every single day. So you wake up in the morning, you've got your day scheduled because you've scheduled previously. So you wake up in the morning, you've got your day scheduled. For me, I'd turn on my Jobber app and just punch in the first job, and it's going to start routing me there. Now, if I need to stop at Home Depot, then of course I'm going to go to Home Depot first. And part of that routine, hopefully, as you get an inventory, because you're not going to have an inventory just starting out, so you'll be going to places like Home Depot a lot. As you're getting your inventory built, but you don't have it yet, your morning might look something like, go to Home Depot, pick up hopefully the materials for all the jobs for that day, if you can predict what they're all going to be. And then you navigate to your first job. Your first job hopefully is scheduled with a window for arrival. So you're not going to say I'm going to arrive at 9 a.m. You're going to say I'm going to arrive between 9 and 10 a.m. And what you're shooting for is you want to try to get up and get out of the house and get your Home Depot shopping done before you get to that first job, and you want to be getting to that first job as close to 9 as possible. And you hopefully have scheduled that job with just enough time to finish it, if you're good at predicting how long it's going to take you to finish it. So you show up at 9, you scheduled 9 to 10 arrival time, it's an hour job, so you show up at 9 and you finish at 10. Now you could have shown up at 10, but you didn't, so you finished at 10. Now your next job you've scheduled for a 10 to 11 arrival time, and you're going to be able to get to that job early, or at least on time. And you're just going to knock out one job after another. And as you get good at this, what you're going to find is that you can predict everything pretty well after you've done these jobs a handful of times. And you're just going to know, when I show up here, it's going to be 30 minutes, I'm going to be in and out. So maybe you finish that first job up a little early, you get to your next job a little early, you finish that job up a little early. Now you've built yourself like a 45-minute buffer. You get to your third job, and at your third job maybe something goes wrong, or maybe because you didn't plan accordingly, you've got to take an extra trip to Home Depot that you didn't anticipate. But you built in that buffer. So it doesn't go well, but you still finish it, let's say still 20 minutes early. And now your next job, you didn't know how this one would go, right? So your next job, if you're good, you scheduled a little bit further out. So you give them a call and you say, hey, I know it's a little bit early, but I've wrapped up my other work for the day. Can I shoot over there early as well? Most of the time, in my experience, they say yeah. They'll let you come over a little earlier than you scheduled. They're typically either working from home or don't have a job, or if they have a job and you wanted to be there at lunchtime, they're just trying to take the whole day off, or they've at least got permission to leave whenever it's necessary from their job. So in my experience, they will usually let you show up early, and you show up at that job early, and maybe you just really bang it out. Now you got another job on the books, but now you're super early. So if that happens, then what I typically do is I'll go to a pawn shop and I'll browse some tools, or even just look at some guns, or maybe I'll pull over into a parking lot of a supermarket somewhere and just go through the back of the van and start cleaning up some of the tools and organizing some things, maybe making a shopping list for tomorrow. Maybe I can go to Home Depot now in that dead time that you've accidentally given yourself between jobs. You can go to Home Depot and get tomorrow's stuff taken care of. Or you can pull up your Jobber app and start invoicing and estimating and stuff. Take care of some of your admin work. But you work your way out through your day, and if you've scheduled well, then you get to all your jobs on time or even early. You finish up your day on time or even early, and now you're done for the day. And something I like to do at the end of the day, by the way, especially when I finish up early, is I always like to know what vacant properties I have, especially if they just need estimates, because those vacant properties where you don't have to schedule, you can show up there at any time. So if you finish your day early, you can go either show up at that vacant property and do the work, or depending on the job, you can show up at that vacant property and maybe at least get your paint sample, get some measurements for the blinds that you're going to need tomorrow or something. And then, like I said, maybe shoot by Home Depot today to pick up the stuff you need for tomorrow. Or maybe it's just an estimate, but now you have time to kind of throw that into your schedule at the last minute on your way home. And then you finally get home, and the next thing you're going to need to do, well, there's one of two things you can do. You can shut your day down, and you can pick a day a few days out that's going to be an admin day, which is, I'll go ahead and talk about my admin days next. But what you should be doing, hopefully, especially if you're trying to stay full of work and you're not overwhelmed with work yet, is when you get home, now you got to invoice all of these jobs. So you got to sit down at the computer, you got to attach the photos to everything, you got to write up the descriptions, you got to think of any and all disclaimers that you need to make on the work. You need to think of any additional notes that you need to give to the property managers about things that you noticed while you're there, or maybe things about how the job went and something they should be expecting in the future. And also, if you do like I do, so one of the things I do is I like to use Jobber on the Grow plan. You can do estimates that have individual line item approve or deny. So they don't have to approve or deny the estimate as a whole. They can approve or deny individual line items. So if I want more work, then as I'm going to all these jobs, I'm looking at things before I even get to the front door. I'm looking at the trim around the garage door, I'm looking at the fascia, I'm looking at the stucco, I'm looking at the doorbell, I'm testing the doorbell, I'm looking at the weather stripping to the threshold as I come through the door, I'm jiggling the knob and making sure it works correctly, I'm looking at window screens. I'm always looking, and I'm making notes and or taking pictures of these things. So at the end of the day, let's say I'm invoicing a job I went to, and the house is just really in bad shape. Maybe the tenant's been there for years and it hasn't been getting inspected by the property manager, and there's just lots of stuff wrong. I'm gonna have my notes and my pictures, so when I invoice that job, I'm gonna put into my invoice that they should be expecting an estimate from me as well for some additional items I noticed. And then I'm gonna write up that estimate after I send the invoice. Then I'm gonna go write up that estimate, and I'm gonna attach each picture to each line item right there inside the estimate. And I'm gonna send them this additional estimate for work that they didn't ask me to do. So if they want, let's say there's 5 items on the list. If they want those 5 items done, they can just click them all, click yes on all of them and approve the whole estimate. If they only want one of them done, then they can click yes on the one, don't click yes on the others, and approve that estimate. But that's a good way to get extra work. But that's your admin part of your day. Once you finish doing all your jobs, you should, as soon as you get home, just go ahead and invoice everything so that you can just have that knocked out, taken care of, and behind you. Now, throughout the day, however, while you were working, if you're getting multiple jobs a day, then throughout the day while you were working, more jobs came in. And depending on how many property managers you have, or clients of any shape or size, depending on your clients that you have, they may be texting these jobs to you, they may be emailing them to you, they may have a software portal that you need to log into that's going to show you the jobs that they're requesting. But once you get your invoicing and your estimating done, the next thing to do is going to be to import into your software all of your new jobs. So you go through all your emails, text messages, etc. You get all those new jobs built. If you have guys working for you, you're going to assign those jobs out in your software to those guys. Or you're just going to assign them to yourself, if it's just you. But you get all those jobs in your software, get them assigned out to whoever they need to be, and now you need to schedule. You need to, number one, you need to contact the tenants and or homeowner clients, doesn't matter. You need to contact them within 24 hours, as soon as possible. In fact, you can do it while you're on the road to at least just let them know that you got their work order and that you'll be scheduling later. But you get everybody contacted, and hopefully you get those new 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs, however many came in that day. You go ahead and try to get those scheduled as well. So you do all of your scheduling. And when I do my scheduling, I like to try to schedule things in different parts of town for any individual day. So I'm not literally driving all over Tucson all day, every day. So get everybody scheduled. Now you've got your invoicing done, you've got your estimating done. Go through your emails and your text messages, make sure you've replied to your clients and your property managers and whatnot, and then you're done with the day. So that's what I'm going to say is the most common, most average day for a handyman. And the only big difference once you get more experienced is hopefully you start building up an inventory and you get better and better at scheduling, so that you're just scheduling those jobs tighter and tighter with the knowledge that you're likely going to have all the parts on hand that you need. So hopefully there's no Home Depot trip included, and you just get in the van or the truck or whatever vehicle you're driving, and you just hit the road and you go, and you bang everything out as fast as you can. Now, let's say your day doesn't end well, and let's say that's how most of your days go, because you've just started, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's not that you're bad at being a handyman, but you've just started. So you've got at least, I'm going to say, about a year. And this seems to be true of, I think, almost any job I've ever had, technical or otherwise. It's about a year into any particular new job that you start feeling truly comfortable. Like, you really start feeling like you know what you're doing, you've got a handle on this, and you're kind of becoming an expert. So when you get to that point, that's really great. But if you're not to that point, then a lot of these days in the beginning for that first year are going to go badly, and you're not going to get everything done, and you're going to be getting home late. So maybe you just don't want to be invoicing and estimating and all of that on that particular night. One of the things that I've done when I was in that situation, or when I've been in a situation where I'm not trying to get more work, I don't want to incentivize more work if I'm already too busy, so I won't invoice quickly, because I found, especially with property managers, the faster you get jobs invoiced, the sooner you send them those invoices, the sooner they send you more work. So what I'll do is admin days. And this means I'll get up 3 or 4 or 5, however many days in a row. I'll get up and just work all day, every day. I just leave the house and I'm fixing stuff until 5 or 6 p.m., sometimes until midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning if it's a move out that's got to be done. But you get up and you just go work all day, every day. And then you set aside a day aside. Preferably, at least I'm going to say every 4 to 5 days. Any longer than that, and you're starting to look like you're just not getting any work done, and then you're overwhelming them with way too many invoices to process all at once. So you set aside your admin day, and here's what an admin day looks like. It's typically, you just get on the computer. Well, you do all the things I already told you. I don't really need to tell you what it looks like, I guess. But an admin day is where you're really just trying to get all the administrative work done. So that includes invoicing for all the jobs you did through the entire week. And if you're doing 3 or 4 or 5 a day, that's going to take most of your day just to get all of those invoiced. And chances are throughout that week you also stopped at 1 or 2 or 3 properties to do an estimate. So you got to go find your notes, go through your notes, look at your measurements, look up materials, visualize the job, figure out how much you need to charge in labor, figure up your materials, put all the caveats in there, all of the disclaimers, etc., etc. Get your estimates wrote up and send out, and you're going to need to do some scheduling. And hopefully you've been scheduling throughout the week, even if you're not invoicing, but you're still going to have a lot of scheduling to do. And then one of the things I do on admin days, and it is time consuming, but I like to start from scratch and pretend like I don't know the status of any of my jobs or any of my property managers. And I start going through my email, my text messages, and all the other pieces of software I have, one by one, from scratch, writing down each job and the status of each job. And that's just for me. You don't have to do that, but I like to do that because that's what's going to prevent you, when you're doing hundreds of jobs per month, or at least every couple months you're doing hundreds of jobs, you're going to get to a point every now and then, and it's just unavoidable, where a job's going to slip through the cracks. There's going to be a text message that you thought you were updated on all the text messages from this client, and then 3 weeks later they're calling you saying, hey, this tenant just called me and they said they still haven't heard from you. And sure enough, you go back through your text and you find there's a message that you just never noticed. So I like to take those admin days to really thoroughly go through everything and just make sure that I'm not forgetting anything that I'm going to need. And that's basically an admin day. And then another day is a day like today. Today for me is kind of an admin day, but I sort of combine it as an admin and errands day. So where I'm going right now is to look at an estimate. I need to go do an estimate. It's really far away, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going to my most distant point, which is the estimate that I need to do. And then once I get there, if I need to take a paint sample, I'll take a paint sample. I'll take all my measurements. I'll get everything looked at that I need to look at so that I'm prepared to write the estimate when I get home today. And then when I leave that job, I'm going to another job which is a job that one of my guys did recently, and I'm not going to be doing any work, but I'm going to be looking over his work and just making sure that my company is putting out solid work, because I'm not subcontracting very much work lately, but when I do, I just want to go follow up and make sure it's being done well. And I don't do it on every job, just occasionally. So I'll do this estimate, I'll head to that other job and just take a look at how it was done in terms of quality, and then I'm going to have to head over to the middle of town to pick up a check, and then after I pick up that check, I'll go to the bank, and then I'm going to go to Home Depot and just stock up on a few more things that I need, and then I'm going to head home. And then once I get home, I'm probably going to do what I was just telling you about, which is to just start going through all my jobs from scratch as if I don't know the status of anything, just to make sure that I'm all caught up on the status of everything. So this is a very normal day. That's why I'm in this nice minivan instead of my work van. I'm not doing any work, I don't need any tools. All I need is my clipboard and measuring tape over here in the side seat and my cutter for the paint sample, and I'm good to go. But this is a really nice day. Another type of day that you're gonna have that I really like is big jobs, and I kind of want to separate and distinguish move-outs from big jobs, but I'm just gonna blend them together anyways. But the idea being another type of day you're gonna have, as opposed to an admin day or an errand day or a just running around town to 5 or 6 different jobs all in one day kind of day. Another day that you have is your big job days, and these are the ones where you're going to go to one address in the morning. Typically it's going to be vacant, not always, but typically. But you're going to go to one address in the morning, and you're going to be at that address for the entire day, maybe even tomorrow as well. And those are really great days, because especially when they're vacant, that's when you get to put your earbuds in and really just chill out. You know, you get to relax and have a good time and just sort of zone in, you know, on your podcast or whatever you need. And for me, those are always very profitable days too. So are the days where I'm running around town doing lots of different jobs. But some of my most profitable days are my one full day at one address doing all the work there. And the reason it's profitable is because if I've been efficient, then I'm not doing any driving because I'm at one address. And I'm also not driving because I'm not going to need to go to Home Depot. I'm going to have all the inventory I need. I'm going to have planned accordingly in advance and have everything at the property with me. So half my day isn't spent driving all over town. My entire day is spent doing billable work. And those are really amazing days too. I love those days. Now, another type of day you're going to have that really, to tell you the truth, is not my favorite day, because it's usually the kind of day that I'm going to end up being mad at myself, is when you've been working all day, every single day, you know, for, God, my first and second year especially, it was 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. It was non-stop, it was never ending. You start getting in a hurry, and you start tossing stuff into the back instead of putting it away properly. You pull out a bunch of tools out of your EDC bag, and you don't quite put them back right all the way. You just toss them back in because you're in a hurry. You have some trash from a job, you tie it up in a trash bag, you throw it in the back of the van because you're in a hurry. You get to the next job. You've got a couple buckets and boxes and bins back there, and you've got some parts left over from something that need to go back in an inventory, but the bin that it goes in is kind of buried over under something else because you were in a hurry for that, and now you just throw it in the top of this bin, and before you know it, you're now in a position where you're spending too much time trying to find all your stuff, and it's your fault, you know what I mean? Like, it's my fault. That's why I get mad at myself when I do it. Really good point for y'all. Really good point of advice to take is to just slow down. And I know sometimes we can't. There have been plenty of times that I couldn't. And it wasn't that I thought I couldn't, it was that I truly couldn't. I needed to get as much work done as I was getting done, and that did not leave any time for keeping things clean and organized. And yes, it cost me time later, but sometimes you are in that position. But now you've got this dirty van, and you just need to go through everything. So what I do is I pull out my folding tables, you know, like my big, I don't know what you call them, like the plastic ones with the fold-out legs that you use for picnics and stuff. I have a handful of those, and I'll kind of set them up in a horseshoe around the back of my van, open up the van doors, pull over a big garbage can, and I just start taking everything. I just start at the back door of the van, and I just start, You know, you don't have to have a process for it. You just grab the first thing you can reach and look at it and go, where does this go? Is it trash? If so, throw it in the trash. Is it inventory? Do I have my inventory kit handy to put it in? No, I don't, because it's buried. Set it on the tabletop. Pull out the next thing. Pull out the next thing. Pull out the next thing until you've got half the van emptied out. Start getting your things kind of back into the kits they go into. Get the rest of the van emptied out and continue on with this. And this is, for me, you know, there was a time when it was a full day because I didn't have a really great system for where all my stuff went. I was still experimenting around with different ideas. So that would be almost a full day. But now when I need to do that, it's really not that much time. I think I can usually have the van fully emptied. And I mean emptied in a methodical manner with everything placed on these tables in an organized fashion. I can have that done in a little less than an hour without working myself too hard because I'm outside in the sun doing it. A little less than an hour, and then putting everything back together, maybe 2 hours. So you get started at 9 a.m. and you're done by lunchtime. And then, you know, if you want, you can play around with maybe testing out some new organizational systems, or you can take the rest of the day off, or you can head inside and do some admin work and some scheduling. And then finally, guys, one of the biggest points I want to make for what it's like being a handyman, and this is somewhat repetitive, but I do definitely want to repeat, throughout the day, every single day, if your business is running well, if you're doing your job, and you're really building this business up like you're hoping to, you're gonna be getting messages and work order requests and estimate requests and questions from your clients and your tenants. These are just gonna be, your phone's gonna be doing stuff all day throughout the day. And I think one of the biggest takeaways should be that you need to always have your phone on you. You need to always be answering it. You need to always be responding. You don't have to. People will be understanding if you tell them, sorry, I was busy, but I'm getting back with you now. They'll be okay with that, but it's going to disorganize your business, and it's going to put you in a position of not always knowing what the status is of everything. So one of the biggest parts of an average day for being a handyman is, on an average day, your phone starts dinging and ringing and alerting you to all kinds of things all day long throughout the day. And your response to that hopefully should be that you at least respond to everybody to let them know when you're going to be getting back in touch with them to actually get them scheduled or to actually talk over an issue or answer their questions. And then finally, the very last kind of day, it's pretty rare, but sometimes you've got to put a lot of time into taxes. There's going to be times in the year, if you have an accountant or not, there's going to be times in the year where you need to go through a lot of tax stuff. You need to find receipts, you need to categorize some things, you need to do your profit and loss statement. If you've got an LLC, you might be filing quarterly, so maybe that's happening every 3 months, or maybe it's happening annually, maybe it's happening monthly. Those are my least favorite days for sure. And along with those, this is something else too, is depending on the software you're using and depending on whether or not people are paying you with a credit card, because most of your CRMs, if people pay with a card themselves online, it's going to mark that job as paid for you. But if you're working for the clients I work for, they do direct deposit, and then they send you a form showing you all the jobs that they've submitted payments for. So then you got to go into your software and just click all day, just marking things as paid, marking things as paid, and marking things as paid. But you do have some sort of like financial bookkeeping tax type of days. But otherwise, guys, I guess what I'm trying to get at here is there's really no such thing as an average day for a handyman. There's no one day in the life of. What there is multiple different types of days, and one of your jobs is going to be to sort of figure out what your routine is going to be, and it depends on how your business is being run, what your business model is, but you'll be figuring out what your routine is going to be for each different type of day. The more you try to mix these up with each other, the less efficient you're going to be. So you just start figuring out what types of days you're going to have, you plan your day accordingly, and you start working it like a little jigsaw puzzle, putting the right types of days next to the right types of days. But the best part for me, you know, like right now, this is my favorite kind of day right here. I think I say this for all my days, because honestly, a day doing 5 or 6 small jobs, when I'm done with that day, I feel really good, and I'm like, this is my favorite kind of day. And if I do a big job and I knock it out of the park and I get maybe $800 worth of labor done in about 5 hours, I'm like, this is my favorite kind of day. My admin day is definitely not my favorite kind of day, but this is one of my favorite days because I'm in the air conditioning, you know, I'm not gonna be covered in sweat, I'm not gonna be getting dirty, I'm not gonna be late to anyone's house. This is gonna be a smooth day, and I'm in the AC, and I'm dressed well, and I just feel nice. It's almost like a reward kind of day for having run a good solid business over time. So if you guys, you know, if y'all have any questions about this particular topic, what it's like to be a handyman, please do let me know. I'm thinking of maybe at some point interviewing my wife or interviewing my son and letting them talk about what it's like for them, what an average day for the wife of a handyman is, what an average day for a kid of a handyman is, or even some of my friends, and just asking them what's it like having a friend that runs his business, you know, and isn't available. And I already know my buddy Chris is going to say, he's probably going to talk crap about me the whole time, but that's because we love each other. But yeah, you guys let me know if you have any questions. Do let me know if there's any particular type of content that you'd like to see soon, because I do want to provide whatever it is that y'all are looking for the most. But other than that, I'm like right up the road here from my move out, or not the move out, but the estimate. It's a vacant property. It's not technically a move out, but I'm right up the road from it. So I'm going to let y'all go for now. I love you. I hope you're out there killing it, and I'll see y'all on the next one.